yes,
to deal with the topic. So please go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay, yes. So I have requested Rameshwari Mataji, I had sent her a PPT. So if she can, if someone can put that up.
Yeah, I'm sure, Ambika, you must have received the PPT. I saw it on the WhatsApp group. Yes, it is here.
Okay, yes. Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll just.
I request all the devotees to turn their videos on. I see many devotees with videos off here. And Ambika, if you can please send a reminder to everybody so they begin joining for the class.
Please put the PPT on slideshow mode, full screen. Full screen.
Can you turn your videos on, please?
Yeah, video should be on, otherwise I'll also put my video off.
Punishment. Yes.
I'm sorry, Prabhu, I cannot find this.
You just have to, you go to the bottom right hand corner to the icon, bottom right hand corner. Yeah. Just right, little more right, 2 icons right. Yeah, one more. Yeah. Just click that.
Thank you.
Yes. Nothing has happened as of yet. Can I click it once more? Click it once more.
Again, I repeat for the newcomers here, please turn your videos on. Virabhadra Prabhu, Srivani, Shishadri Srivas, yes, Shakti Manta, Lalita Pritimai.
Ambika Mataji, can you try once more? The same icon. It's not happening. It's important because the font size is not so good and there are many things to read from the screen also.
I'm sorry, what did you mean?
I'm saying that this slide should be full screen. Right now, it's not full screen.
Oh, for me, it shows that it's full screen.
Oh, is it? What about others?
No.
Others can see full screen?
No, it's not full screen. We see the slides on the side.
Right. You can try once more, yes.
Is this a regular?
Hare Krishna, excuse me, there's no option so that I could share this because if I put this full screen on, then I cannot see the this Zoom at all. So I'm not able to do that. Is it okay without full screen?
Okay, so then do one thing. You put on this thing as you put on before. You share screen.
Mhm.
Then I'll tell you. At least you can maximize that.
Maybe you can zoom.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Mm.
you can make the notes window as small as possible. Just drag the notes window down.
Ambika Rameshwari is saying that you make her co-host and she will try.
Okay, I will make her. She is a co-host now.
But is she here?
Yeah, thank you, Ambika. I'll try to share now. Give me few minutes, please.
Okay,
Sorry.
then we can start and then.
Yes, but
Yes, yes,
Pranesvara,
I will.
please
I will do
start
that. Yes.
and
yes.
hopefully everything will work.
Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishna Bhuttal Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshtarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I would like to thank Prashanta Mataji and other VIHE devotees here for giving an opportunity to present the value session here today. So we'll be having today and on Fridays, right? Friday morning again?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yes. So this is the Bhakti Vaibhav group, is it? Or it's a big...
It's a mixed group, Prabhu.
Okay,
you have devotees here from Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta.
Okay.
You also have Bhakti Sadachar.
Okay.
And yeah, you even have some old Bhakti Shastri students.
Oh,
Hey.
okay. Okay. Yes. I can see. Yes. Okay. So we are we'll be taking some values from the lives of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj, there are three lives: Bharat Maharaj and the deer and Jada Bharat. So this entire episode from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll try to take some values from that. So Bharat Maharaj is the eldest son of Lord Rishabdev. Right? So Lord Rishabdev is an incarnation of the Lord. And so Lord Rishabdev had 100 sons. Bharat Maharaj was the eldest. And it is given that Bharat Maharaj was a very advanced devotee and a follower of the Vaishnavas. And he was actually, so Lord Rishabdev enthroned Bharat Maharaj on the royal seat. So he was the king, right, of the entire planet, Bharat Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada says in one of the purports that the activities of Bharat Maharaj should be carefully studied for one's spiritual advancement. The activities of Bharat Maharaj should be carefully studied for one's spiritual advancement. So the main lesson which we can learn which from this whole episode of Bharat Maharaj's 3 lives. Srila Prabhupada gives it in the purport for purport 587. He says spiritual salvation and liberation from material bondage must be worked out with great caution. Otherwise, a little discrepancy will cause one to fall down again into material existence. And so these are very powerful words by Srila Prabhupada in the purport to 587. So I'll repeat, spiritual salvation and liberation from material bondage must be worked out with great caution, right? So it's not that, so spiritual life is not a picnic. It cannot be taken, I would say, with leniency. There cannot be any leniency in spiritual life, in executing spiritual life. So it must be worked out with great caution, Srila Prabhupada says. This is otherwise a little discrepancy, not a big discrepancy. A little discrepancy will cause one to fall down again into material existence. And this is true for a beginner devotee or a medium devotee or even an advanced devotee. Just like in this case, we have Bharat Maharaj, who's not a Kanishta Bhakta. He was supposedly on the platform of Bhava Bhakti, was ecstatic emotions. So, in some other conversation, Srila Prabhupada says that just like if somebody is passing through thorns, one must be very careful. Otherwise, the thorns will stick to the garment, and one will be inconvenienced. So then Srila Prabhupada quotes the verse, Suryasya dhara nishta duratya. Right, he says that, so this verse, it's Vedic injunction, this verse, Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Suryasya dhara nishita duratya, Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Uttishta jagrata prapya varan nibodata, Suryasya dhara nishita duratya, Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. So spiritual life is it's a very difficult path. Durgam patas. It's not an easy path. So Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a razor, a very sharp razor. So he says, many times he has given this example. So if a razor is very sharp, so then one can shave very nicely. But a little inattention and there'll be immediately a cut and there'll be blood. Right? So little inattention also. So the same thing is there in spiritual life. The path of salvation and liberation, or going back to God, it's a very difficult path. And so one has to be very careful that a little inattention will cause a fall down. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada says, in the same conversation, he says, our attention should always be how we are executing our spiritual life. We should always question our standards. We should always question what standards we have accepted in our spiritual life. We should always, contemplate on the quality of our spiritual life. And so this is one of the main lessons for this whole episode. So then, Rameshwar Mataji, not yet figured out or how to, at least then we can have the PPT without being full screen. Is there, Rameshwar Mataji, though? Ambika Mataji? Maybe you can just put it on then.
Okay, without full screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do.
You can make that main screen as big as possible by making the note screen lesser. Yeah, that notes window is there. Down below where the notes are there. Yeah, so there's a line which separates so that just pull down that line. Yeah, right. Very good. Right, that's enough. Yes, okay, fine. Yes. Yes, okay. Yeah, so please change the slides. Please go to the fourth slide. Okay, yes. Thank you. So, lesson one. If you perform your duties as a sacrifice to please the Lord, you make advancement. So we may wonder that how actually Bharat Maharaj became so advanced. Did he start his devotional service when he retired, when he went to the forest? No, it's not like that. His whole life, even when he was king, he was performing various sacrifices throughout his whole life, even before his vanaprastha, even before retiring to the forest. Bharat Maharaj was performing various sacrifices. So he was, like the tradition was there, he was performing Pashu Yagya, different types of yagyas he was performing. But he was having the right understanding. So what was the right understanding? Is when the priests were about to offer the sacrificial ingredients into the fire, Maharaj Bharat expertly understood how the offering made to different demigods was simply an offering to the different limbs of the Lord. So, in one sense, they were like karma kanda yagya, but at the same time, they were not karma kanda yagya because Bharat Maharaj, even though the demigods were being worshipped, Bharat Maharaj was thinking about the demigod as only a different limbs of the Lord. For example, when the offering would be given to Surya, the sun god, so Bharat Maharaj would think that now we are making an offering to the eye of the Lord. Eye, because sun is considered as the eye of the Lord, right? So then when an offering would be given Indra Swaha, Indraya Swaha, so when the offering would be made to Indra, so then Bharat Maharaj would think, this is an offering to the arm of the Lord. So everything he connected with the Lord, because everything is connected actually with the Lord. So he thought of everything and everyone in connection with the Lord. So throughout our whole life, right? So we should always connect everything. Supposing we are working also, right? If you are doing anything for as an occupation, we should connect everything to the Lord. There are many good lessons to learn from this whole episode of Bharat Maharaj. So this is one of the things, that so you have to perform your duties as a sacrifice to please the Lord. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So this is a very interesting thing, that how his Bharat Maharaj, he did not want anything out of the sacrifices. Right? So he was simply thinking that this is for the pleasure of the Lord. This is an offering being made to the Lord. Okay, so yeah, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Lesson 2, even if you're a king, you must retire. Right? So the concept of retirement should be there. So, okay. Who wants to read the first paragraph here on the slide? Anybody? I can hear some background noise. Keshav Hari Prabhu, I think. Can you please mute him? Okay, I muted it, yes. So, so even if you are a king, you must retire. So everybody should plan for retirement. Right? So what do you mean by retirement? Retirement means full-time devotional service. That is the meaning of retirement. So those who are currently in some occupation, in order to earn something, they have their office, they have their business, right? At some point of time, right? So one must retire. Anybody wants to read the first paragraph? Just the first paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
He
please.
gave up his Hare Krishna. Prabhu. He
Yes.
gave up his beautiful wife, nice children, great friends, and an enormous empire. Although these things were very difficult to give up, Maharaj Bharat was so exalted that he gave up just as one gives up stool after evacuating. Hare Krishna.
Right. So you can just see the example. Just as one gives a stool after evacuating, right? So nobody is attached to the stool which goes away. In fact, one is happy. If the stool is not gone away, then we have a terrible day,
Yes, Prabhu.
right? So, so he was so detached, right? So how can one have this consciousness, right? To give up everything. The more you have, the more you're attached. That is one of the problems of accumulating. As soon as you have more, then you become attached to everything which you have. And these things are so difficult to give up. Right? The whole planet, Maharaj Bharat, he gave up. He had the whole planet. Right? If somebody has the whole planet, and if there is no election, right? There was no election. It's monarchy. As long as the king wants, he can be there as the king. But no, in middle age, right? In middle age. So Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture, Los Angeles, December 15, 1973. Anybody wants to read? Anybody else other than those who have read now? Somebody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, please. Yes.
So everyone should retire at a certain age. Pancha Sordhvam Vanam Rajit. As soon as one is 50 years old, he must retire. He must retire. Not that he will say, I have got this duty, that duty, that duty. No, within this age, whatever duty you can perform, that's all right. Next, to retire. That is Vedic civilization. So Yudhishthira Maharaj concluded to retire from the service. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:15:37, Los Angeles, December 15, 1973.
Thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is very clear on this. Not that he will say, I have got this, because generally people say, oh, how can I retire now? I have this, I have that, I have, my children are there, and my parents are there, this is there, that is there, so many things are there. So that will always be there. So that's why the proper planning was there. Right earlier, right at the age of 25, one was to get married, so that at the age of 50, the children would be 25 years old at least, and then they could retire properly. So everything is topsy-turvy now, but still one should try to retire. So, right, not at the till the fag end of life, one remains at home, attached to one's family. Right. So retirement must be there in order to intensify spiritual life. In order to intensify, right? So for those who are not full-time devotees right now, they should plan for retirement. Just like these kings, Raj Rishis, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, they retired. Even during their normal life, they were actually performing bhakti. Right? They were very religious, Bharat Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, but still at a certain point of time, they retired. Okay, so next point. Yeah. Next slide. Ambika Mataji, can you go to the next slide, please? Are others seeing the slide is moving? Is it? No. Yeah. So Ambika Mataji, can you make
Yeah.
the slide move, please?
Yeah, I'm in now. So if I can become the co-host, then I can share.
Who, Rameshwari Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm okay with this. Only, I mean, but the slide should move.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So how could Bharat Maharaj renounce everything so easily? So Srila Prabhupada writes. Right? Okay. Anybody would like to read? Somebody is not read before.
His opulence was so great that even the demigods envied it. Yet he gave it up. It was quite befitting a great personality like him to be a great devotee. He could renounce everything because he was attracted to the beauty, opulence, reputation, knowledge, strength, and renunciation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:14-44.
Yeah. So his opulence was so great that even the demigods envied it. Right? So he had so much that even the demigods, they were thinking they don't have so much. But at the same time, he gave it up very easily. So how could he give up? Srila Prabhupada says, because he was so attracted to the beauty, opulence, reputation, knowledge, strength, and renunciation. Meaning, all these are the Lord's opulences. So if one is attracted to the Lord's opulences, then one will be able to give up one's own opulences very easily. And so attachment to Krishna brings detachment from material life. And so that is the formula. Right? So one should therefore try to get attached to the Lord, to the Lord's opulences, form, right? Qualities, form, name, form, qualities and pastimes. So Srila Prabhupada gives this formula. So Bharat Maharaj actually lived for a long period of time. It's given 1,000 times 10,000 years. Right. So, but even that period got finished. So we should understand that no matter how long a life we live in the material world, it comes to an end sometime. So even our duration of life will come to an end. Right? So even Brahma's duration, which is the highest duration of life, comes to an end. So you should never be thinking that that I am now young and I don't have to worry about this. No. And so any amount of time, duration of time will come to an end. So Bharat Maharaj, it is said that he divided the wealth he had received from his forefathers among his sons, and then he went to Pulaha Ashrama, which is situated in Haridwar. He went to Pulaha Ashrama, which is situated in Haridwar, near the Gandaki river. So he used to take bath in the Gandaki river, and he used to offer the same water to the Lord. He used to perform sacrifices in the Pulaha Ashram. He had a hut in the Pulaha Ashram. So So this is the way he actually performed a devotional service after retiring. So now we know what happened, and so the deer actually came into his life. Okay, so go on to the next slide, please. Yeah. So do not go from affection to attachment. So he says here, being attached to raising the deer, Maharaj Bharat forgot the rules and regulations for the advancement of spiritual life, and he gradually forgot to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After a few days, he forgot everything about his spiritual advancement. Right? So this happened slowly. It doesn't happen all of a sudden. Right? So a deer came into his life, a baby deer, and then because he became attached to raising the deer, this was the mistake by Bharat Maharaj, which he realized later on. Right? So first of all, the deer cannot be deer's consciousness cannot be raised spiritually. So Bharat Maharaj got immersed in the material needs of the deer, of the baby deer, and because he was doing that, he became attached to the deer, right? And he forgot to worship the Supreme Personality. It is meaning that whatever rules and regulations and whatever sacrifices he was performing, his spiritual duties, he actually became lax about that. And so one should learn this lesson from the life of Bharat Maharaj. Go on to the next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody would like to read this? Somebody's not read before.
From this, we can understand how we have to be very cautious in executing our spiritual duties by observing the rules and regulations and regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we neglect doing this, we will eventually fall down. We must rise early in the morning, bath, attend Mangala Arati, worship the deities, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, study the Vedic literatures, and follow all the rules prescribed by the acharyas and the spiritual master. If we deviate from this process, we may fall down, even though we may be very highly advanced.
Yeah, thank you, Babu. So what we can learn here is material compassion, because the compassion for the deer, Bharat Maharaj's compassion for the deer was material in nature. It was not spiritual in nature. He was not thinking anything spiritual about the deer. So material compassion. Right? Now, do devotees have material compassion? Can Vaishnavas have material compassion? Yes, definitely. It's not that Vaishnavas are like stone when it comes to material suffering of the living entities. But if material compassion becomes an obstacle in executing bhakti, then it must be given up. If material compassion becomes an obstacle for the execution of spiritual life, then it must be given up. Right? And later on, we'll be also saying that how one should have, along with material compassion, one should also have spiritual compassion. And one should try to, the main business of a Vaishnava is to have spiritual compassion on the living entities and to raise the spiritual consciousness of living entities. Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying that the rules and regulations of our spiritual life should be carefully observed. We must rise early in the morning, bathe, attend Mangalarti, worship the deities, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, study Vedic literatures. The formula is given here. Follow all the rules prescribed by the acharyas and spiritual masters. If we deviate, then even though we may be highly advanced, there is no exemption. Just like if somebody is a very expert driver, right? If anyone thinks that I've been driving since many years, now even if I can, if I sleep on the wheel sometimes, it is okay because I am an expert driver. So now even if I don't chant my rounds properly, since I've been chanting since a long time, I can be, nothing's going to happen to me. Right? So no, it's not like that. Mostly only expert drivers have accidents because the beginners, they are very careful while driving. Yeah. Please go to the next slide. Okay, lesson 4. Real compassion means to elevate people from material to spiritual consciousness. We just discussed this. Okay, anybody would like to read?
When a person advances in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes very sympathetic to us all living entities suffering in the material world. Naturally, short, an advanced person thinks of the suffering of the people in general. However, if one does not know of the material suffering of fallen souls and becomes sympathetic because of bodily comfort, and in the case of Bharat, Maharaj, short sympathy or compassion is the cause of one's downfall. If one is actually sympathetic to fallen, suffering humanity, he should try to elevate people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness.
Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada is very clear about this. He says, if one is actually sympathetic to fallen, suffering humanity, he should try to elevate people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Why? Because the cause of material suffering is spiritual. The actual cause of material suffering is spiritual in nature. Krishna bhuliya jeev bhogavansha kare, nikatya maya tara chapatya. Right? So the diagnosis of material suffering, of all material suffering, what is the diagnosis? Right? The cause of the problems. Right? There are many problems, but there's only one cause. There are many, right, several hundreds and thousands of problems in the material world, but there's only one cause. Right? That cause is forgetfulness of Krishna. And since there is one cause, there is one solution, one root solution. There may be some other solutions. It's not that other solutions are not there. There are other solutions, but the root solution is remembrance of Krishna. Right? Because the root problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. Therefore, the root solution. So here Srila Prabhupada is therefore talking about the root solution of elevating people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Yeah. Next slide, please. So that's real compassion. Right? So one should not get busy only trying to help people materially. And we should try to raise people. Right? We can help, right, people materially as long as we are connecting them to Krishna. As long as we are connecting them to Krishna. Yeah. So again, lesson 5. Become attached to nothing else other than Krishna. Okay. Somebody would like to read? Somebody's never not read before, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
One who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. Sometimes, in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities, but we should remember this. There is no chance of our being victimized by material activities.
Yes. So this is a warning given by Srila Prabhupada that is the one who's very serious, should be very cautious, not to become attached to anything but Krishna. So it's very easy to become attached. That whatever gives us pleasure, we become attached to that. So, and there is no exemption for devotees. It's not that devotees, once I'm a devotee means I will be attached only to Krishna. No. We have to make that happen and we have to constantly work at that. The natural system in this world is everything goes down. Just like water flows from height, it flows down. When water doesn't flow up, it flows down. Because of the gravitational force, everything flows down. Everything goes down. So even consciousness, by default consciousness, our consciousness always goes down. By default, our consciousness goes towards passion and ignorance. Right? But just like you have to use a pump to take water from down to up. So similarly, we have to use the pump of our intelligence in order to take our consciousness from low consciousness to to higher consciousness. And we have to always check, keep checking our consciousness. Okay, please go ahead. Yeah. So lesson 6, we are where the mind is. So somebody would like to read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, please.
In other words, if one's mind is distracted from worship, a mere show of worship will not be of any benefit. The fact that Bharat Maharaj had to get up at intervals to look for the deer was simply a sign that he had fallen down from the spiritual platform.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam 5.8.14.
So very powerful words from Srila Prabhupada. So, so what was happening is that Bharat Maharaj, he got so much attached and he had so much affection for the deer that when the deer sometimes went out and it would not come back, he would be very much disturbed. He would be thinking, what has happened to my prince? Right? He used to think of the deer as prince. So what has happened to my prince? And so he would be very fearful that some wild animal has not eaten the deer. So he would pray to the Lord for the deer. Right? So also sometimes when the deer would come back, so Bharat Maharaj would make show that he's sitting in meditation. He would actually, it would be fake samadhi. He would fake samadhi. It's given in the translation. He would fake his samadhi. Right? He'd show that as if he's sitting in samadhi. And then the deer will come, right? With his horns, he would actually poke Bharat Maharaj. And then Bharat Maharaj would get up and express his affection to the deer. So all this was showing that Bharat Maharaj had fallen down from the spiritual platform. So Srila Prabhupada is saying if one's mind is distracted from devotional service, so just externally, if we are doing things, that is not sufficient. So our mind should be there along with the external senses. A mere show of worship will not be of any benefit. Okay, next slide. Yeah. So some Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he actually comments the fall down of Bharat Maharaj. Right? Why this fall down happened? So there are two things. One is that we have to learn from the episode what the external reasons for the fall down of Bharat Maharaj. But internally, what happened? So that is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary Sharartha Darshini. He says Bharat's fall, however, was arranged by the Lord for the purpose of increasing his longing for bhakti after taking birth as a deer and a Brahman. The Lord has said, so this verse is there. But the reason I do not immediately reciprocate the affection of living beings, even when they worship me, O gopis, is that I want to intensify their loving devotion. They then become like a poor man who has gained some wealth and then lost it, and who thus becomes so anxious about it that he can think of nothing else. So this is one of the techniques of the Lord also. Right? So the external and internal reasons are there which we can learn from this episode of Bharat Maharaj. So we saw the external reasons for the fall down of Bharat Maharaj, and we have to learn from the external reasons. But there is an internal reason also, which is the actual reason. So this is the actual reason. So Bharat Maharaj was an exalted personality. He was an exalted devotee. And in order to intensify his devotion, the Lord arranged for this deer to come into his life. But we should not think that yes, there is a deer in my life and the Lord has arranged this deer, and so there is nothing wrong in it. The Lord does not want me to come back to God in this lifetime. Just like Bharat Maharaj went in 3 lifetimes, I will also go in 3 lifetimes. We should not think like that. So therefore, this is the internal reason. Therefore, we are not there in the Bhagavatam. Bharat Maharaj is there in the Bhagavatam because he is such an exalted devotee. So Bharat Maharaj's life is there to teach others. Yes. So from this verse also we can understand that why Krishna does not reciprocate with the affection of living beings, because he wants to intensify their loving devotion. Right? So anything happens in our life, even after taking care, right? Even after following all the rules and regulations properly, if something still happens in our life, something like for whatever reasons, if we get diverted also, we should not be disturbed so much, because the end result is going to be intensification in devotional service. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so this is also very some powerful information is given here. Anybody would like to read? Somebody is not read before, please.
Yes, please.
Yes.
It is with this conviction that we declare in our back to Godhead magazine that devotees like the Goswamis living in Vrindavan, who purposely commit some sinful activity, are born in the bodies of dogs, monkeys, and tortoise in that holy land. Thus, they take on these lower life form for a short while, and after they give up those animal bodies, they are again promoted to the spiritual world. Such punishment is only for a short period, and it is not due to past karma. It may appear to be due to past karma, but it is offered to rectify the devotee and bring him to pure devotional service.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. So there are a lot of dogs, monkeys, tortoises in Vrindavan. Right. So from this paragraph, we can understand the identity of those dogs, monkeys, and tortoises. Right. So they are past devotees. In their past life, they have been devotees. So we should be respectful to the dogs, monkeys, and tortoises in Vrindavan. Right. So what can we learn from this? Is that no one can say that, look, Bharat Maharaj became a deer. What is the use? Right? He became an animal in his next life. Right? You people say that those who die in the mode of ignorance, they become animals actually. Adho gachanti tamasaha. Jagana guna vrittista adho gachanti tamasaha. Urdvam gachanti satsastha madhe tishtanti rajasaha. Jagana guna vrittista adho gachanti tamasaha. So this is given in Bhagavad Gita, that those who die in the mode of goodness go upward to the higher planets. Those who die in the mode of passion, madhye tishtanti rajasa, they again take birth as human beings on earthly planet systems. And adho gachanti tamasaha, those who die in the mode of ignorance, they become animals. But they becoming animals, non-devotees, and devotees becoming animals here, there is a difference. So Srila Prabhupada says such punishment is only for a short period. And it is not due to past karma. What is the meaning of this? That it is not that some karma was there, that is why they became animals. No. It is due to attachment, right? With some animal, that a devotee may become an animal. And it is actually administered by Krishna. It is not administered by Yamraj. For non-devotees, next life, next body is administered by Yamraj. But for devotees, the next lives are administered by the Lord himself. And there is a purpose to that. It is only to rectify the devotee, right? So it is treatment for the mind. If anything wrong happens to us in our lives also, for a devotee, we should understand that Krishna is giving treatment to our mind. Our mind has a mind of its own. Right? Our minds they need treatment. And right, so just like some diseases, medicine is enough. But some diseases, surgery has to be there. So similarly, in our spiritual life also, sometimes there will be medicine given by Krishna. Right? Some small things might happen. But sometimes there will be surgery also. Right? Some big things might happen. Some calamities might come and all. So they are surgeries. But they are only treatment meant for rectification. And to intensify the devotees' devotional service. Right, so for normally, if one becomes an animal, then one has to again, right, in the 84 lakh species, wherever you fall down, from there there is slow evolution. From a deer, one cannot become a human being. There are only 3 gates to the human being: cow, monkey, and tiger, or sometimes it's said a lion. So those in the mode of a cow. From the cow, if one becomes a human being, then they are predominantly in the mode of goodness. From a tiger, one becomes a human being, they're predominantly in the mode of passion. And from a monkey, if one becomes a human being, they are predominantly in the mode of ignorance. So there are 3 gates. These are the 3 gates. A deer is not a gate to a human body. One cannot actually become a human being from a deer in normal evolution. But Bharat Maharaj, right, again he got the birth of Jada Bharat, a Brahmana, from a deer. So we can see here that it is not normal karma. So I think it's 8:30. We'll stop here for today and we'll continue in our next session on Friday. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Right, does anybody have any questions? We can take 1 or 2 questions. if anybody has. Kasturika Mataji and Lalita Prithibhai Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances.
Yes.
I have a question. When you mentioned about, we should be attracted to Krishna,
Yeah.
but as a beginner, we are always in the Anishtita Bhakti. So,
Yes.
there are always obstacles.
Yes.
So it's not so easy to be attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although
Right.
we know the truth.
Yes.
So how do we practically overcome this problem? Thank you.
Yeah. So the process has been completely given to us. Nothing has been hidden from us. There is no secret formula which is waiting to be revealed to us. Right? The acharyas have given the process fully to us. And the process is foolproof, provided one follows the process. And it is also expected that in the beginning, there will be some faltering. Srila Prabhupada always gives the example of a baby trying to walk. So the baby will fall sometimes, will fall short of pure devotional service. So devotees will fall short of pure devotional service many times in the beginning. But we know that our position is better than what we started off. Right? When we started off, right? At that time and this time today. Right? For example, if I ask you, Mataji, that don't think about Krishna for today at all, is it possible for you? I don't think it's possible for anybody here. Don't think of Krishna or Krishna consciousness for a whole day. Okay, not even a whole day, half day. Just not possible. It's just not possible. Right? So we will come back to Krishna after every activity, whatever activity we may be. We have to come back to Krishna. So the process works for sure. So careful devotional service is the answer. Careful devotional. Bahu janme karid shravan kirtan tabe na pava Krishna pade premam. So meaning just devotional service is not going to help. Careful. In this whole episode also, Srila Prabhupada is saying, careful, be with great caution. So this is the answer. With great caution, one must perform, and one must. So there are many obstacles. One of the greatest obstacles are offenses. Right? There are 5 types of offenses: Jiva Aprad, Vaishnava Aprad, Seva Aprad, Nam Aprad, Dham Aprad. So avoiding all offenses very carefully, and carefully performing all the rules and regulations with one's mind in it, not externally, right? So whatever is, when we do whatever is possible, then we get more. Like you're saying, we are now situated in Anisthiti Bhakti is right. But within Anisthiti Bhakti, if one is sincere, then one must progress to Sthiti Bhakti. One must progress. The process is very powerful. It is given that if a room is pitch black, darkness for 100 years, the room has not been opened. There's no light at all. But you just take one light there, immediately the darkness is gone, finished. So light is more powerful than darkness. Krishna is more powerful than Maya. Maya is undoubtedly very, right, super powerful, but Krishna is more powerful. Right? So this is the process. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar. Jaha Krishna, taha nahi Maya radhikar. So whole point is our sincerity, what we want. Right? So we just have to stick to the process. There's no other formula. Right? So this is what I can say as of now. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Lalita Pritimai Mataji and then Shivani.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the beautiful class. Prabhu, my question is, you showed the shloka from the 10th canto saying that Krishna he does not reciprocate immediately because he wants to intensify the desire of the devotee.
Yes.
So this applies to the highly advanced devotees or even to the sadhakas?
It applies to advanced devotees.
Okay, Prabhu.
It applies.
So
yes.
So it's like sometimes the chanting is very nice, sometimes the chanting is not really very good, and sometimes we get the reciprocation, a good reciprocation from the spiritual master or the devotees, and sometimes we don't get the reciprocation that we need. So being a sadhaka devotee, how to understand this, like why the chanting sometimes is not good?
So that does not depend upon reciprocation. It is the normal process. There are stages in devotional service. That's like Vishnu Chakra Thakur in Madhurya Kadambani. He actually outlines the process of unsteady devotional service. So that is a part of the process. Ghana Tarala. Sometimes the chanting is good, sometimes it's dilute. Right? So that is a stage in devotional service. It has got nothing to do with the Lord's reciprocation or spiritual master's reciprocation. It is the way it is. These stages will come in devotional service. So we simply accept this, that it is due to my anarthas that sometimes my chanting is good and sometimes chanting is not good. And it is because I am on a particular stage in unsteady devotional service. As soon as I make more progress, then it is going to be better. Right? So Vishaya Sangara, that is a stage. Right? So Niyamakshana is also, right, a higher stage than Vishaya Sangara. In Niyamakshana, one takes vows to do better. And more devotional service, quantity and quality, but one is not able to do that. So that is also stage. So one should not be discouraged. We should never think in our spiritual life, we should never think, never be discouraged. Why is this happening to me? No. What we should think is, how can I make it better? Where am I going wrong? That we can think. Never ever be discouraged by whatever happens. Right? So never give up. Right? Yes. Okay, I hope I've answered your question a little bit at least.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. And Prabhuji, as you mentioned, we are like, we are where the mind is.
Yes.
There was a slideshow.
Right.
So during the chanting and during the worship of the Lord or whatever services we are doing, our mind should be fixed in that service and in the remembrance of the Lord. And most of the time during the chanting also, and even during the services also, when we see a certain devotee who may be offensive to other devotees, we may feel a little bad about them, like, oh, he has come, why he has come to like do the service. So sometimes we think like that and make an offense. So does that affect that mentally what we are thinking about the devotee, that also affects our devotional service in future?
Yes, it does affect. Right? So we should not overreact to something. And we should properly respond to a given situation, not react. So we have to see that can be different reasons for a particular devotee to act like this. Kapila Muni describes there are devotees performing devotional service in the mode of ignorance. There are devotees performing bhakti in the mode of passion. There are devotees performing devotional service in the mode of goodness. There are three types. And then there is those who are performing pure devotional service. So we appreciate those who are performing devotional service, and those who are not high devotees, those who are not performing devotional service, at least in the mode of goodness, right? We can choose not to take their association, but we do not criticize them, or we do not find faults in them unless it is our duty to do so, or unless we can do something about it. It should not become a discussion. What is a topic for discussing Prajalpa? Generally, it becomes like that, right? So it should not become like that. One should avoid that, right? So criticism should be can be there only if it is our if we are going to do something about it. In the sense, if we are in a position to do something about it, right? So or if it is our duty to see, if we are managers and all, then, and even then it has to be done very carefully in the proper mood. Otherwise, yes, it will be offensive. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, I'll take Srivani Mataji's last question.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Here. Yes. You're muted, Mataji. You're muted.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu. Prabhuji, actually you said something about internal cause. I could not hear. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had told something. Like I had some neck problems.
Yeah. So there are external reasons for the fall down of Bharat Maharaj, and there is an internal reason for the fall down. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the internal reason for the fall down of Bharat Maharaj. He says that it is the will of the Lord. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, he became hungry and thirsty, so much hungry and thirsty that he put a dead snake on the shoulder of, on the right neck of Shamik Rishi. That was also the will of the Lord, so that Srimad Bhagavatam can be heard. So similarly, Bharat Maharaj's episode is, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, it is actually the will of the Lord. So that is the internal reason. But we must learn from both, not only from internal or external reasons. We must learn from both reasons. Yes.
So how do we understand, Prabhu? Is this the will of the Lord or it is our mistake? How do we understand that?
So after taking all cares and precautions and everything, if we find no reason that we are in trouble, right, then we can simply accept it as the will of God. But first we should look for, what did I do wrong? Who is my dear? And we have to identify the dears in our life. What and who is dear to me? What and who is dear to me? Who all is dear to me? And they are our dears. And we may have more than one dear also in our life. So we have to identify. We have to identify the. Maybe next class I'll talk more about this. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay, so do we have time for Panduran Kripa Prabhu's question?
Prabhu, I don't have a question.
Oh, you have a, yeah, please go ahead then. Yes.
Prabhu, I just want to say that we remember all these instructions from Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gita. We remember up to some time. We are also careful. But after, when the time goes on, after 1 year, 2 years, we again come to the normal situation. We forgot all these instructions. We remember, but somehow we are getting forgetfulness. We don't remember that we have to be careful, because when in temple, we are careful that we have to be stay away from all this, and we have to be cautious how not to commit any offense to devotees. We remember and we continue up to few days. But after that, again, somewhere we do that offense. So.
Right. So therefore, every few days we should remind ourselves.
Okay.
Right. So like, for example, there was one preacher, there was one person who was not coming to the Sunday program. So one preacher, he went to his house, and this was in some foreign country. So he went to his house. He didn't say anything. He went inside the living room, and there was a fireplace, and there was a wood, some wood was burning in that. So he took in front of that person only, he took that wood, the preacher took the wood piece and took it out of the fire. After some time, this wood piece stopped burning. It became cold. Then he picked up the wood and put it back again there and went away. Didn't say anything. Experiential learning. So what information he wanted to give, that look, you're not coming to the Sunday program, you're not taking association. So what is going to happen to you? You're going to forget. You have forgotten. Right? Just like this wood. It was burning when it was in connection with it was connected with the fire. As soon as you disconnected with the fire, after some time you're finished. Then what is the process again? Again come back to the fire. Srila Prabhupada, that's why he used to say that this Bhagavad Saptaha, this 7 days is not enough. That people once in a year for 7 days hear, no, Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Therefore, keep hearing, keep reminding, keep reminding. We know all these things. We have heard everything, but we need to hear it again and again and again. Just like if somebody says, for the past so many years, I've been taking bath. Right? Why should I take bath now? Every day I've been taking bath. Why should I take bath now? Every day I've been eating. Why should I eat now? No. That has to be done every day. Every day I become dirty. Therefore, I must take bath every day. Okay. So
thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, everybody. See you on Friday again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Pranesvara.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Ambika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
For this wonderful class. And yes, we'll hear from you again on Friday.
Yes, sure. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.